Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it. It started innocently enough. Johanna was just a friendly face in the dormitory, someone I occasionally bumped into in the common areas or exchanged a few words with between classes. One evening, when she happened to be around as I was preparing dinner, she lingered a little longer than usual. "That smells amazing," she said, leaning against the counter, eyes locked on the simmering pot. "What are you making?" "Just some pasta," I replied, stirring the sauce. "Wow, I haven't eaten all day," she sighed dramatically. "Mind if I crash here for dinner?" It caught me off guard. We weren't particularly close, but I wasn't rude enough to say no. Sure, I made extra anyway. That was my first mistake. The next evening, just as I was setting the table, there was a knock at the door. Johanna again, flashing an easy grin. "Hey." I figured I'd drop by and say hi. "Oh, you're cooking." It was a question, but she didn't wait for an answer. She stepped inside, sniffing the air with approval. "This is great timing. What's on the menu?" It became a pattern. Every evening around dinner, Johanna would appear, acting casual but never empty-handed, not with food, but with excuses. "Oh, my fridge is practically empty," or "I was gonna cook, but I ran out of time." Each time, she conveniently showed up just when the food was ready. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe she was just struggling financially and too embarrassed to say anything. But then I noticed she never contributed. Not once did she offer to bring ingredients or even a drink. It wasn't just occasional, it was calculated. One night, as I cleared the plates, I decided to test her. "Hey, next time, maybe you could bring something," I said lightly. She laughed. "Oh yeah, totally. Next time." But next time came, and Johanna brought nothing except her appetite. Johanna's freeloading wasn't just an occasional annoyance anymore. It was an expectation. Every evening, like clockwork, she showed up, conveniently dropping by just in time for dinner. No food, no offer to help, just an easy smile and an empty plate waiting to be filled. I needed a way to stop this without a dramatic confrontation. So I changed my routine. Instead of cooking, I started ordering takeout, just for myself. The first evening I tried this, Johanna arrived right on schedule. She glanced at the small takeout container in my hands, eyes narrowing slightly. "That's all you're eating?" she asked, forcing a chuckle. "Yeah," I replied casually, opening the box. Didn't feel like cooking today. She hesitated, clearly thrown off. "Oh, I was actually kinda hoping to eat here." I shrugged. "I just got enough for myself. But hey, there's a great Thai place down the street. You could grab something there." For the first time, Johanna looked genuinely irritated. She lingered for a moment, as if expecting me to suddenly offer her half of my meal. When I didn't, she let out a small sigh. "Yeah, maybe I'll do that," she muttered, heading for the door. But she didn't leave. Instead, she stood there waiting, as if giving me a chance to change my mind. I didn't. After a tense pause, she huffed and left. I exhaled, realizing how much tension had built up over something as simple as dinner. But I knew Johanna wouldn't give up that easily. For 2 days, Johanna didn't show up. The first evening felt liberating. I cooked my meal in peace, ate without forced conversation, and finally enjoyed my own leftovers. The second night, I half expected her knock, but was relieved when it never came. Maybe, just maybe, she had taken the hint. But on the third evening, just as I was setting up my laptop to eat in front of a show, there it was, a knock at the door. Before I could decide whether to ignore it, the door swung open, and Johanna walked in with her usual breezy confidence. "Hey, thought I'd drop by," she said, holding up a small plastic bag as if it were some grand peace offering. "Look, I brought some groceries." I eyed the bag as she placed it on the counter. A single can of beans, a tiny bag of rice, and a bruised tomato. That was it. "That's not really enough for dinner," I said, crossing my arms. "Oh, come on. It's something," she replied, waving a dismissive hand. "We can just use whatever you have in the fridge to make it a full meal." There it was, the same old strategy. Pretend to contribute, but in reality, still expect me to provide the bulk of the meal, the cooking, and the cleanup. I sighed. "Sorry, Johanna," I said, shaking my head. "I already ate." Her smile froze. Wait, what? I ate earlier, I repeated. I wasn't expecting company. For a brief moment, she seemed genuinely shocked, as if the idea of me eating without her had never even crossed her mind. Then, her expression darkened. Well, okay. Then I guess I'll just cook something for myself, she said, reaching toward my fridge. I stepped in front of it. That's not how this works, Johanna. Her eyes narrowed. Wow, seriously? You're just gonna let me starve? I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to stay calm. You're not starving. You brought food. You can cook it at your place. She scoffed. Unbelievable. After all the times I kept you company, and this is how you treat me. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. I just held my ground as she grabbed her bag and stormed toward the door. Before she left, she turned back and spat out, I really thought you were a good friend, but I guess I was wrong. The door slammed. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. Johanna, didn't think you'd be so selfish. I thought we were friends. I stared at the message, then placed my phone face down on the table. I had a feeling this wasn't the last I'd hear from her. The next few days were peaceful, too peaceful. Johanna had gone silent. No knocks at my door, no unexpected visits, and not a single text message since her last passive-aggressive jab. It should have been a relief, but something felt off. I found out why soon enough. Dude, what's up with you and Johanna? My friend Mark cornered me in the dorm hallway between classes, arms crossed. I blinked. What do you mean? She's been telling people you humiliated her, he said. Said you basically kicked her out after she brought food over, then laughed at her when she didn't have enough to eat. I let out a sharp breath. That's not what happened. Mark studied me for a moment, then nodded. Figured as much, but some people are eating it up. She's been playing the victim card hard. I clenched my jaw. Johanna wasn't just upset. She was actively trying to ruin my reputation. By the time I reached the cafeteria, the damage was obvious. A few people whispered when I walked past, and others shot me questioning glances. My friend Claire, who usually sat with me, hesitated before pulling out a chair. I have to ask, she said, lowering her voice. Did you really refuse to share food with Johanna when she was struggling? I exhaled. No, that's not even close to the truth. I explained everything, the months of freeloading, the ignored hints, the takeout strategy, and finally, Johanna's weak attempt to contribute before trying to guilt trip me. Claire listened carefully, her frown deepening. That's way different from what she's been telling people, she muttered. I'm not surprised. Claire nodded, setting her tray down with more force than necessary. All right, time to fix this. She turned toward the table where Johanna was sitting, laughing with a few mutual friends. Before I could stop her, Claire stood and called out, Hey, Johanna, heard you've been telling some stories about Gareth. Johanna's smile froze, but only for a second. Then she sighed dramatically. Oh, Claire, you don't know the whole story. I do now. Claire crossed her arms, and so should everyone else. A few people turned to listen. Johanna's face darkened, but she forced a smile. I was just expressing how hurt I felt. Maybe I exaggerated a little, but... No, you lied. I cut in, stepping forward. You made me look like a villain just because I wouldn't keep letting you take advantage of me. The murmurs grew louder. Some of our friends exchanged glances, doubt creeping into their expressions. Johanna opened her mouth, but for once she didn't have a quick excuse. It was clear the tide was turning, but I had a feeling she wasn't done yet. The dinner party was in full swing. Laughter and the clinking of glasses filled the dorm as my friends enjoyed the food I had spent all afternoon preparing. It was a rare moment of peace until a loud, insistent knock shattered it. The room fell silent. I already knew who it was. I took a deep breath, pushed back my chair, and walked to the door. When I opened it, there stood Johanna, arms crossed, her lips curled in an overly sweet smile. Gareth, I heard you were having a little gathering, she said, peering over my shoulder. I figured I'd stop by. I didn't move. Johanna, you weren't invited. She blinked, as if she hadn't heard me. Then she laughed lightly. Oh, come on. No need to be so formal. I'm sure there's plenty of food. Behind me, Mark's voice cut through the tension. Plenty for the people who actually contribute. Claire appeared beside him, arms folded. Yeah, weird how you only show up when there's free dinner. Johanna's smile twitched. I don't know what you're talking about, she snapped. I just wanted to spend time with my friends. Friends don't use each other, I said flatly. Her face darkened. Oh, so this is how it is? You all turn on me. She let out a bitter laugh. Guess I know who my real friends are. No, Johanna, I said. You don't. Johanna's face turned red. Are you seriously all ganging up on me? No, I said calmly. We're just done being used. For the first time, Johanna had no comeback. She scoffed, turned on her heel, and stormed off. As I shut the door, a wave of relief washed over me. That night, we ate, laughed, and enjoyed a meal without tension. And for the first time in months, my home truly felt like mine again. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.